Has something really bad and negative have had to happen in your life in order for you to learn what today's topic is about, which is patience? Today, we're going to dive deep into this subject because it's an important subject that needs to be touched upon, and we're going to get into it right now. Let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Bump Podcast. My name is Nabil and I'm here with my brother and co-host
Shamir. What's going on, guys?
Ooh, we're happy to be back yet another week.
Oh yeah,
for another exciting episode. We've got a really good, juicy, and important topic to talk about this week.
We definitely
And by the grace of God, it just kind of came to my mind through someone that I know, and I brought it to Shamir's attention, and he thought it was good.
not good. Gas, wonderful. SpaceX jet fuel, not jet fuel, space shuttle fuel. That's how good it is. It's a really good topic for you guys.
Yeah. And an important one too. Again, I think I say that about every single topic every week.
Yeah,
but it's the truth. Excuse me.
They're all wonderful topics to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So
we're talking about patience, the importance of patience. And so, I mean, like, where do you go? Where do you start? You know what I mean? We've all been through different situations and circumstances where we are tested.
Oh, yeah.
We're tested at the DMV. We're tested at the doggone supermarket. We're even tested to see how long it takes for us to go to the bathroom. And man, it ain't fun when that happens, you know? Mm-hmm. You have that little Chinese boneless spare ribs with some pork fried rice, and you're just like, Oh Lord,
the patience, yeah, patience everywhere with our jobs, school, our
loved ones,
everybody.
Yeah,
and want to start it off. There's a little anecdote of. There's two different ones. The first one, I was the other day at a mechanic shop with a good friend of mine's a mechanic, and there was a guy, he lives in one of the storage rooms over there. So he's kind of poor. He really doesn't have much resources, but good guy. And I
hope so.
Dad was with me that day because we went to go pick up the truck. And Dad said, "What's up to him?" He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then Dad whispered in my ear, he's like, "You know, that guy lives right there in the storage room." And he told me one time that not a lot of people acknowledge him, and that when the first time that Dad acknowledged him and said, "What's up?" You know, the guy actually really got happy and just like started talking to him and told him "Hey, you know, this is, you know, in essence, thank you for acknowledging me." And it leads me to the one that I told you about, Publix, one time.
That's great.
When we were working for Publix. Yeah. And there was this guy, you know, it was honestly our job. And I usually would say hello to people in general, customers and stuff like that. I would always that's
part of the training.
Right. And that's just us too. You know,
common courtesy.
We're just good people, I guess. So we always say hello to just any random person. So
manners. Yeah.
So I said hello to the guy. "Can I help you find anything?" He's like, "No." So then I walked a few steps away, and then he's like, "Hey, let me tell you something." And when he told me, he's like, "You know, nobody's really acknowledged me for years. And honestly, I was really thinking about taking my life."
Dang.
I literally stopped what I was doing. I was like, "You know, sir, I mean, it was my pleasure." And, you know, we kind of left it at that. And I ran to Nabil.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know if I cried or not. I was like excited.
You were
like,
excited.
I was
remember
just
that.
like so shocked and starstruck about what, you know, just acknowledging a person, saying hello or whatnot can do to a person. And it, you know, it really doesn't have much to do with patience. But what I can tell you is that maybe that person was patiently waiting for someone to acknowledge him before he actually took the decision to take his life or to do anything crazy. And it,
you probably saved his life just for that one action. You know what I mean? Like,
you get what I'm saying? And like people, one of our main purposes, I say it on the podcast all the time, is we do this podcast because whether we could save a life or not, or we can help someone, we're trying to educate you guys with personal experiences, not, you know, with a college degree or, you know, super professional and you know.
Weekly disclaimer, we are not professionals.
We're not professionals, but with, we try to share our experiences, and
Definitely.
I think Nabil has the meaning of patience. Again, you guys know how we roll.
Sure
so
do.
Let's bring that up. So
we about to educate y'all.
Yeah.
So yes, patience, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. So just sit on that for a minute. I have struggled with this for the longest time. Even to this day, I feel like I've gotten better at it. Sure, I've progressed at it just because I've, kind of put in the work, through prayer, through scripture, through just having the right people who can guide me to just be like, yo, listen, don't make it a bigger deal than you need to because of this situation, or this person said it this way, or they looked at you sideways or whatever. Like, take a couple deep breaths, back up, leave the scene if you need to for a minute. And I mean, if you need to permanently remove yourself for a minute, then do so. You know what I mean? Come back the next day or what have you. But try to demonstrate to people that you're mature, that, sure, you're not going to be pushed around, but there's ways to emphasize that without getting in their face or,
of course,
or, spitting out the first thing that comes into your brain just because, your heart feels like somebody's doing this to you and they're not even caring about it, So certainly keep that in mind. Something that I came across too, that it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, how do you describe someone with patience? Pretty straightforward. By their calm demeanor, self-possessed, the ability to bear pain, especially if it's a group of us and this person's just taking it. And you're like, bro, like, why aren't you saying anything to them? Why aren't you reacting?
Right.
Misfortune, annoyance, or delay, untiring, attacks and things like that. If you can withstand all of that, sure, we all have our limits, but those are some of the best descriptions that I was able to kind of come across of someone who actually can tolerate it. I'm certainly not there yet. But I'd like to think in certain circumstances I have been able to say, oh, you know what? I have been calm.
And you know what? I sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
I think that a lot of people that do have patience, because it is a virtue. Patience is definitely a virtue. But I think that it's like perfection. We'll never get to it. I think patience is something that we continue to build on a daily basis. But there is a time that as humans, we do have emotions. We do have those moments where, people are trying you or testing you, if you're a famous person, TMZ is on you at all times, So there's going to be a time where that patience is broken. So we're not going to stand here and say, hey, this is the virtue you guys need. Here's the tools to do them. And after you've done this, that's it. You're completely patient for the rest of your life, and ain't nobody could, say otherwise. We're not saying that. But we are saying is that this is constant progress. It's a work in progress.
Absolutely. Every day.
And that, for example, you also, we kind of brought up the idea of, mentioning my time in prison and stuff, Yes, I built patience of waiting, when it comes to, time running out. But at the same time, it's like, what about everything else? I gained patience as well of tolerating a bunch of nonsense and wannabes and idiots and all types of stuff, ignorant stuff and negative things. Yes, I learned patience with all these things, but at the same time, it's like you could only get so much of it when you get tired of it and you're just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So, in those cases, kind of just, push yourself away from it if you can. And if you can't, just try to work accordingly, where it doesn't put you in a predicament that your freedom or a life and death situation comes about, or things like that matter. I think that we can work to a better self every day. Again, this is my perspective on life. This is something I wanted to bring on to, since we've been recording the podcast and stuff. Our opinions, whether it matters or not. It's just our opinions. And
based off of the experiences we've had.
So that doesn't specifically mean that it's going to be your same life circumstances or that our opinions are going to matter, whether if it's something positive or negative. Again, I think it was 1 or 2 podcasts ago, I was saying that, you know, whether our words matter or not, just take the positive out of this podcast, and anything that you consider negative or against your thought process, hey, leave it alone. You know what I'm saying?
Or let's discuss it, because I mean,
exactly.
Isn't that the whole point, right? The communication between us.
Right.
So like, we want to be able to hear your side of your thoughts and your opinions, and what matters to you and how you would handle certain things. It's not just about us. This is a whole community thing that we're trying to create with you guys who are watching this and sharing this, so that we can continue to build ourselves up.
And it leads me to this. The other day I was in class, in my humanities class, and we were in this class discussion, and you know, I posted something about what I believe, because we were talking about the history of here of Florida and how religion came to Florida in the 1500s with the Spaniards.
Oh, no kidding.
And Catholicism. Yeah. Well, in the class, I had wrote certain things, my points of views, and then there comes this classmate furious at me, dude. When I mean furious, I'll show you later, dude. He's just like, I agree 50% with you about this, but about the conspiracies and all this and stuff, but I don't agree with all this you said, because I'm this and this and that. Just went off. I was like, bro, this is just a discussion. It's okay. I understand. I respect your thought process.
But bring it down a notch.
Yeah, like you're being like, you really were just about to jump into the computer, jump into the,
and strangle you
to my room and just strangle me. Like, you know, I mean, there's a way to conversate. There's a way to have
always a way to
discuss. Because when I was in my school email is where I saw it at first, before I even went into the classroom to see the actual discussion and everything you said.
So he just chewed you up,
bro. It was a paragraph. I'm talking about, there was at least 1,000 words. I thought he wrote an essay is what I thought he was doing. I'm like, this is the wrong part of the discussion to write an essay, but do your thing. So I was just like, I had the patience to read the whole thing and try to understand this guy. I was like,
sure.
You know, let me see his point of view, because I might be completely wrong. You know, these people in the 1500s, the whatever they were thinking, were there for trying to push here in the state of Florida and just in the country in general when it came to religion. You know what I'm saying? They weren't understanding. Those people were trying to put it through eyes and ears and everything about religion. Like, here, this is what you got to learn now. This is what it's going to be in this state of Florida.
You either take it or leave it. Yeah.
The natives here were just like, well, we go to war with these people, or we bow down to them and we follow the religion. So again, you know, it's just, there's always going to be
that part sucks. 2
sides to the quarter. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at both sides and be like, well, or I understand it or I don't. So that's the point of the podcast. You know, if you understand what we're saying about patience, great. If you have something to add to it, put it in the comment box below or send us an email, however, and we'll be gladly and happy to read it and maybe elaborate it on another podcast. You know, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, man, there's plenty of ways to be able to communicate that. That's funny. I didn't know that.
Bro, when I told you he tore me up, I was like, bro, dude, it wasn't even like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't write that much for him to be like, bro.
Yeah, but it's triggering.
Like, he wrote in like cap locks and everything. That's how.
Oh, he was yelling at you. He was yelling at me. You know, anytime you read something in cap locks, they're emphasizing it. They're just like in your face.
By the way, I forgot to say,
ooh, snap.
Bump podcast products are coming on soon.
Merch coming soon.
Very soon. This is a prototype right here to the coffee mug and the coffee drinkers. We love all the coffee drinkers in the world, so we got something coming for all you guys soon. So stay tuned to all the merch very soon. But anyways, we'll proceed.
How about this? Comment down below if you're up for getting some sort of merch, whether it's a coffee mug, a little tea, not a teacup, like a little mini thermostat for your teas or your coffee or just whatever to keep warm or cold. I have mine. I don't have it with me. I came straight to work, from work to here to shoot this podcast, so I didn't have it on me.
Determination, ladies and gentlemen. He worked all day. He's been up since early this morning.
Yeah, worked 11 hours from 6 to 5:30, and in Florida time, whatever. It's like 6 or 7 o'clock right now. anyway, I think it's like 7 o'clock, 7 something.
But his
So,
determination's on point. So
trying to.
continue
Trying to do my best.
to strive for greatness, Nabil, and all of you guys as
Yeah.
well. Leads me to another thing. I've been up very early as well with my son. That's another thing that I say to all the parents out there, whether father or mother.
Yes, this
Takes
is a good thing to have
a
patience.
lot of patience to be a parent, but it's very rewarding.
Okay, but, like, don't just glance over it. So, like, obviously, you're the parent. I'm an uncle. I babysit for like a day, and I'm like, cool, take them. I love them to death. Take them. I'm ready to go and have some chill time with my wife.
Yeah.
You know, you got to deal with him. You and my sister-in-law have to deal with him,
Sure.
obviously, every single day. And it's not obviously just you. You got family to help you out. Like, you have a whole bunch of us to help you out. That's
Sure.
a blessing right there.
Crazy.
But then, like, what kind of patience would you? I guess from you're going on a year. My next birthday is gonna be a year old
Right.
in March. Yeah, I can't get these words out. So what kind of patience would you describe to people that you've been able to obtain throughout this first year?
Yeah.
When do you feel like you had to, start that patience as soon as she got pregnant? Or was it after he came and then you're like, all right, now it's time? And then if so, like, because you got parents, like in your case, again, I'm going to reiterate this.
Sure.
You guys have help to take care of him. So you guys do have a little time to,
we
take
got
a
some
nap
room.
here and there, whatever. Or if you go on a date, me and my lovely wife will take care of him, or, our parents.
Sure.
Their parents,
Right.
whatever. Some people don't have that.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like, we're not going to go out on a date because we can't bring the
I
kid.
want to say two things. I'm going to start
It's a
off.
lot.
I do believe that a lot of people out there don't have help to be able to sit back and relax. And a lot of people also have multiple children at once. So I was talking to a friend the other day, Hector's sister. She doesn't have her parents. The grandparents are too old to help.
Right.
And it's just a number of things. So the patience kind of really kicked in. I could say I think being incarcerated for this, that it's like a day at a time. But I think what really kicked in was when the kid was born and you start getting into that new motion of, okay, now lack of sleep. I mean, the preparation came as we went. Like, mentally, I was just kind of like, I would talk to my lady and we kind of like prepare ourselves mentally, talk at each other, having constant conversations about everything, and like, when this happens, what are we gonna do when this happens? So we kind of like built the road in a way, the roadmap, and then we kind of just went with it when he was born.
Okay.
And then I feel like a lot of people painted being a parent way more than what it is.
But in a negative way, right? You would, told me.
In a very negative way, because it's like, thank God, that we have a great kid, and that he anywhere he goes, he's kind of just like, everybody loves him, always giving a smile, and he's just chill. So that's one thing. But like, a lot of people maybe don't have that blessing to have a kid like that. So I'm not saying it in a bad way, but
or in a cocky way either.
Yeah, no, not at all. But the patience kind of grew, I guess, as you go through. And there are days that are hectic. There are days that there's no sleep whatsoever, no matter how much help you have. Because again, you have your daily things to do other than, you
got school and other things.
School,
so you're a busy guy.
Yeah. I mean, I try to stay busy, but, at the end of the day, it's a matter of taking it a day at a time and seeing things for what it is. Like, whatever's at the moment, whatever task or challenge is at the moment, just work with that, with what you got. Don't look at task as a wholesome thing. Like, oh my goodness, I got all these things to do today. Nope. At this time I do this, and the next hour I do that, the next minute I do this. And that's kind of how I grew my patience, was not just the incarceration period, but also, just seeing things for what they are, not creating things in my mind. It's like one of the sayings that I said in one of the last podcasts, which is the mind is you create reality with your mind, but thinking reality is how the mind
It was a tongue twister.
Yeah,
it was a tongue twister.
Nice,
but it was good. Just go back and watch.
What I'm trying to say is that you're what you put in your mind, what you feed your mind, is what you're gonna believe.
What you're making your reality into. So if you're gonna be negative
and just like, oh my goodness, all this stuff that's coming through my life and my kid and this and that, you're gonna start to paint a negative picture of your outcome. So
100%.
That's another thing. But honestly, it's been nothing but great things with my son. I love my son and my lady to death, and I'll do anything for them. You know, before starting the podcast, I spoke to them for a little bit because obviously I'm not home recording, and
we're in our studio.
We're in the studio, and so you know, it's things that sometimes you got to put, you know, your work. And you know, you can't
things like this you can't
and your family, but family is priority at the end of the day. You know, work could wait sometimes, you know. So to me, family's first.
Yeah. And we're not even recording on a regular day that we typically record our episodes.
Sure.
So this is kind of our our comfort zone, if you will. You know, he had his busy day, I had my full day, and I was just like, well, this upcoming week, the weekend, we're gonna be busy at an event, so we're just like, well, let's record this on a different day. All right, this is the day that'll work. Great, let's do it. And we got to do it. You know, we've committed to this podcast, to what we're trying to convey, to help you guys as much as possible, and in the same breath help us. Check this out. Well, for one, I wanted to quote Gandhi, and he says, "To lose patience is to lose the battle," and that's so true. So today, check this out. I didn't really tell you, so this is new to you and this is new to the audience. The audience may not care as much, but I'm at work, right?
Right.
And so one of the supervisors tells my lead, they're like, we need a bill to go back to his old station.
No way.
I had to go back to my old station, and I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
That's how much you know this company sucks. So again, I
don't want to give them
before, just search for your dreams and start, and you know, Nabil's doing.
And this is part of the dream,
right? So stop. You know, Nabil's trying to fulfill. Yeah, Nabil's trying to fulfill his dreams. He's working hard, and I've seen it. I've seen a transition in his life. So do the same for y'all. You know, search for your dreams. Stop working for these idiots out there that want, you know, 10, 12 hours of your day, make you miserable while they're over here filling their pockets, being rich, watching bump podcasts as well.
I guess so.
Yeah,
so I'm there stuck for 2 weeks now, right? Today is day one of the 2 weeks.
Right.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. All right, so I go and whatever, and I realized that I was still harboring some bitterness towards that other lead because he had gotten me kicked out of that specific station a year ago and just went behind my back. And I worked with him for 11 months. And in those 11 months, he maybe corrected me twice.
Right.
And so I just kept working and da-da-da. He went to the supervisors. Eventually, they kicked me out. Their excuse was they would see me on the phone too much. Then I found out later on that was partially true. And I can admit to that, but that was because I had less work than the rest of the guys. And they had their way of doing things. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to get in anybody's way.
Yeah,
but I definitely have some fault in it too that I've already owned up to. Point is, I'm helping out today and everything's going fine or whatnot, but I'm just feeling this negative tension. I'm like, yo, I got to get over this negative feeling that I have. And I just kept being told by different people, well, patient. I'm like, bro, this is crazy how it's like people are telling me to be patient on the day that I'm going to talk about patience, and they don't know about this. I don't talk about what I do on Bump podcasts or anything in my personal life to just any coworker.
Right.
I just
yeah.
Been there, done that, never again. Point is, I'm supposed to do something that lead told me to do. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. He ruined the vinyl of the cabinet within the ambulance. He tells me about it. He's like, yo, look at this. This is a big old gash. He just ruined it. But he didn't tell me it was me. He said somebody else had done it. So I was just like, dang, that's wild. I ignored him, kept doing my thing. So he told the guys that are in charge of the cabinet that they got to remake it, whatever. The guy blames it on me. And I was just like, and so that lead that he had told and put the blame on me came to me and told me. I'm like, bro, this is exactly why I don't want to be here. This guy's just full of crap.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so I went to my lead at the end of the day. I was like, yo, is there any way to like just not help this fool? Because you know, I'm over here trying to get over everything, trying to forgive him, trying to show him grace. And he still finds a way to screw me. And the way he was like, in a nutshell, my wife also told me the same thing. They were just basically like, you know, for a fact you're being tested right now.
Yeah.
Because new changes are happening and other things that I'm working on. And so that's when the tests really come. When you're about to upgrade and you're about to level up, when you're walking up these steps, something always happens, right? And it's up to us to either change it and shift our perspective, or stay in what we're kind of seeing right then and there and face it in a negative way, and then it just goes down, crumbling down. So now you're falling down the steps.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so I was just kind of like, you know what? All right, I need to take a better approach. And it's going to take me some time. You know, tonight I'm going to go home, I'm going to pray, I'm going to sleep on it, and then wake up with a better attitude tomorrow and just kind of like, well, whatever. I already talked to the leader and he know it wasn't me anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm good.
Right.
But even still, if I wasn't, like, I've got proof anyway on that. But the point is that I need to be patient with this man who clearly just doesn't care about me or anybody else. He's out really for himself.
Right.
And so it brings me to what Joyce Meyer says, which is, patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. I was just like, oh, I read that and I was just like,
yeah, that's good.
It's incredible. So what I'm learning today in real time, you guys hopefully can use this, maybe not now, but when you're in the thick of it and you're having your own situation, you can go back to this episode of the podcast and be like, I'm gonna learn what Nabil learned right then and there. And so we'll see how the rest of the week goes. So but I'm pretty confident that everything's going to go great and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keep practicing patience and all that stuff. I feel like I've been rambling on.
No, you're good. Honestly, I mean, this is great content, because I know how many millions of American workers are out there going probably through the same thing you're going through, or even worse, on a daily basis, that can relate to what you're saying and could build off it. And that's the point of this podcast, that we are genuinely going through these things on a daily basis, whether if it's at a job or wherever, any trials on the road. And once you walk out the house, the war begins. You know what I'm saying? Whether if it's a spiritual warfare for those who believe or those people that don't believe and just go on through their daily basis, there's always a trial. It don't matter if you're a Christian, Catholic, Hinduism, Judaism, whatever. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through their trials and tribulations on a daily basis. So I applaud you, honestly. I love the fact that you bring these kind of things to the podcast, because you're just being genuine with people. And that's the point. We want you guys to bring your comments and everything, emails, whatever, to us as well, with an open heart, because that's what we're doing. We're not,
no doubt,
we're being vulnerable, and we don't care. You know what I'm saying? We don't care what anybody thinks. You know how many criticisms we probably get for all our podcasts in general, and what's to come. We're ready for this because we've been through trials and tribulations and tough times that put us to the test, and we got a strong armor.
Yeah, man.
And those that believe understand what we're talking about.
No doubt about it.
You see what I'm saying? So whether it's rambling or not, you consider that. I believe it's strong content, Nabil.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's like I feel like we have to tell you guys these things.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, the whole reason we created this podcast was to bring up topics that aren't talked about enough or at all.
Yeah,
and that to me is just an injustice to every single one of us.
Yeah,
that's not fair. These are things that I feel like we should have been taught since we went to school, in elementary school, you know, or even earlier. Just real quick also, I found that basically the gist of patience within the Bible says the ability to endure difficult people. Look at that.
Yeah.
And situations without giving into anger or giving up hope. And then it goes on to say, because God continues to show us patience when we are doing disappointing things, we can show others patience when they disappoint us.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee, that's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, because I'll tell you something, man. I think that a lot of people in this world need to be heard. A lot of people need to speak. We're talking right now our circumstances and our issues and whatnot, but that's why we try to have you guys engage as much as possible, because we know
Absolutely.
you guys have to speak, have to say things. You guys probably have bottled up a lot of things in your life.
And we certainly have to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I would never deny that.
Yeah.
Because I've said it in previous podcasts. But that's one of the main things that we're bringing here tonight about patience, is that sometimes we need to take time to listen to our loved ones, our friends, even just a random person, because we truly don't know what's inside them. And you could save a person's life. You could save a person's positive thought process. And the reason why I say positive thought process is because maybe at the moment they have a negative thought process that is, really strong in their mind, and is probably leading them to a very negative thing, whatever that may be, even though they're a positive person on a regular basis. But maybe that issue they're going through at the moment is so strong that it's overpowering anything positive that they might have in their life. So, that's one of the main things we're going to be talking about tonight. And I know Nabil has something, strong testimony to talk about tonight. So I would like for you to share that as much as you can tonight, man.
Yeah. So I shared this testimony, life experience, that a coworker who I care about deeply, and it's only been in the past few months I've been able to get to know this man. And of course I asked his permission if I could talk about this on our show, and he was more than happy to. And he said, "Now listen here, young man, if you're gonna talk about this on your podcast, I need you to do me a favor." I was like, "All right, yeah, what can I do?" He goes, "Make sure there's no BS. You're transparent, you're clear, and you're to the point about what you're telling your audience, because it's super important to be real. Cut the BS." He said the full word. I'm not going to say it. Man, this guy's a character. Yeah. I freaking love this guy. And
he's such a character.
And it's crazy, right? Because some people who are just older than us, it's like they're a treasure box, man. They're just full of knowledge, man.
Yeah, that's life experience right there,
bro. And I freaking love it. So
real quick, I'm sorry for those believers, when I think it was in the book of John where they explain how in his dream that he saw God. And he explained that his hair looked like sheep's wool, right? They weren't talking about his race or his color or anything. They were, one of the significances of his hair was actually life experience, was knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So for y'all believers,
that's
look that
gas.
up. Yeah, continue.
That's
sorry.
Gas. Or even those people that are curious. Yeah. I know there's a lot of curious people out there, and I know a couple of them too. So look into that. That's dope.
Yeah. Shout out.
I never thought of that. It's really good.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
So, okay. I had to write this down because it was a lot, and I told him last week about it, and my wife and his girl.
We had I'm sorry to interrupt one more time. This is the last time. When he told me about the idea, we had other ideas written down and things that we were going to come through. And yeah, of course, we're going to keep rolling. But this was urgent for some reason in my heart. I was just like, bro,
it wasn't mine.
We're cutting everything. And that you just mentioned, I dabbed him up. I was like, bro, this is the kind of content we need on the podcast.
Yeah.
So here we go. Go ahead.
All right. This is my coworker's whole spiel. Okay. So and if you meet him nowadays, he's super calm. Mm-hmm. He's super calm, super collected, chillest dude you could ever meet. You think he's always high, but he really isn't. He says he doesn't consume nothing. Okay. Because he's always just kind of like, "How you doing, buddy?" Yeah. And keeps on trekking. So he used to be he's ex-military. Okay. He served for.
Thank you for all those who served
definitely,
in this country.
Yes. Thank you so much. We're here for you guys too. I mean, one day we're going to have to touch upon a subject or something with that, because it's so important, especially after talking to this man. I don't know if he'd be cool with me mentioning his name, so I won't. But anyway, so I had to write everything down. It's like a whole thing here, right? So he was former military, and he had to get into anger management because he obviously had anger issues, right? And he said the reason that he got into anger management was because not only would he snap at people, but he was he would snap at his mom. And so one day he snapped at his mom and cussed her out. And he tells me that she's an intense Catholic woman.
Oh man.
Right? He's like, if there's one person I'm scared in this entire world, it's my mother. And I'll tell you why, young man. Because I'm like 6 feet. I'm the shortest one in my family. I'm like, what?
Godzilla's your dad?
I don't know. But he's like, my mom is yay high next to me and yay wide. I can't say the F word because it would offend her. She might hear me. Had me dying when he said it. And I cussed her out one day so bad that she slapped the heck out of me. And she created holes that I never even had before. So that's when he realized, oh no, I need to get myself some help. The military messed me up. He had trauma from the different kills he had on his different missions.
PTSD and all that.
Absolutely. And I was just like, wow, it's amazing how it's just so vulnerable with me about this stuff. Like, we've never gotten to talk so profoundly. Right. So he's telling me all this stuff, and he's like, I went to anger management. I want to say, I'm sorry if I'm looking at my phone a lot. I want to make sure I get this right. He went to anger management. He went for many weeks, and then one of the guys that were there were talking about reasons for, why he was there. And as he's, kind of explaining to my coworker and other people in anger management why he was there, no one was really paying attention to the guy.
Wow.
So weeks and weeks would go on, and this guy is still kind of expressing himself and things like that. And then my coworker, like, something kind of clicked in him, and whatever the other gentleman was saying drew his attention. So he asked him some questions. Oh, well then, why did you do this, or why did you say that? And the other guy would say, and so my coworker would just be like, okay, and just kind of brush it off and mind his own business. All right. So then he happens to the guy who was speaking in my coworker's anger management team. He went back home to his state. He was gonna be gone for 2 weeks. So my coworker found out that this guy had died.
Right.
He's just like, well, what the heck? That's crazy.
It's wild, eh?
Let me go to his funeral. And he goes, and he thought he missed it because he was just like, the person who's in charge, I'm sorry, the name escapes me right now, but the person in charge of like the funeral is there. And that gentleman's, one of his cousins was there too.
Right.
So he's like, oh, do you know my cousin? He's like, well, yeah, just a little bit, not much. Yeah. He's like, did I miss the is it the ceremony, the viewing?
Yeah, just
what the burial specifically. And he was just like, no, this is it. It's just me, his cousin, and then the guy who's giving the service. Right. Some of his other family members didn't want to come. So my coworker was like, wow, this is crazy. So then he ends up being invited by the cousin to the guy who passed away's mom's house.
Right.
So he went to his mom's house, and she was like, oh, did you know my son? And he's like, well, kind of, sort of. We were in the anger management program together. And so we sort of chatted here and there, not much. But when I found the news, like, I wanted to pay my respects. She's like, oh, well, thank you so much. Not many people knew my son like that. Please come on in. And so he went inside the house, and they chatted for a little bit more. And she's like, I want to show you something. So they go down the basement. So they go down the basement, and she said, my son died right in this basement, and it's hard for a mother to bury her own son, And unfortunately, the man committed suicide. He took his life. I don't want to get into a lot of detail as to how. I don't know if I should or shouldn't within this, so I'm not really going to. Okay. But sadly, he took his own life, and that had my coworker kind of like, oh, dang, Yeah. And she's like, my son left a note, and she said, the reason I'm doing this is because, I think I'm getting emotional here. Oh,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay, so the reason the guy said in the note, the reason I'm taking my own life is because no one cared to hear about my story.
Yeah.
And that just broke my coworker, right? Especially since the mom took him to where he did the act.
Yeah.
And he was just like, if I had only heard this man every single week I was there, he might have still been here.
Yeah.
If I had just been patient, it all ties together, this man would have still been here. And now he's not, and I feel like I'm at fault for it, is my coworker's thought process.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Nabil, after that day, I swear to you, I learned how to be patient with people. Because when he was in the military, he was not patient with people. He was in your face. He was yelling at you like how everyone's trained to be. Sure. And when it came to just taking people out, that's what they were trained to do.
Right.
And the reason he even brought that whole story up was because I had finished my job and I had some free time and he was showing me how to do his job.
Right.
And he loves to teach. He used to be a teacher as well.
Wow.
And so he was like, after that day, I learned how to be patient with anybody. If I have to explain to you things 5-10 times, however long it takes to you to learn it, I am more than happy to. But I'm going to ask you constantly, did you understand what I said? Yes. Okay. Explain to me now what I said to you. And if you can't explain it, we're going to go back to square one and find the root as to where it's difficult for you to know and understand what it is I'm trying to say and how to get it done.
Nice.
So I'm going to go ahead and go back to you. And literally that day, throughout the day and then the following day, he was asking me. And I still kept answering him right because of the way he explains things patiently, slowly. That's why his attitude is such a chill, mellow kind of attitude. I'm like, these are the kind of people I want to be around.
Yeah.
This is what we need to aspire to be like.
Yeah.
You know, right now I'm 31. You're 29. You just turned 29. Happy birthday to this guy.
Last year in the 20s.
Oh, you're about to join the 30s club. It's great. I love being 30. 31. And it just, bro, I was just like, how can we not share this? And after he gave me the okay to share it on our podcast, I just hope this somehow affects you guys in such a way where you guys can learn how to be patient with people who really irk the heck out of you, who really piss you off. Like, just do your best to be patient. I mean, I'm going to share with you guys, and some of you guys might tune off on this, but like, it's what we're here to do. I'm going to share some Bible verses that I know for a fact it's just like, yes, this is what we need. James 1:3 says, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. Okay. The next one that spoke to me was Romans 12:12, which says, rejoice in our confident hope, meaning the Lord. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. Why? Because at least for me, at least for us, we've always been told through scripture, through pastors and whatnot, that prayer changes things. The more we pray, the more we're demonstrating to God, I can't do this without you. I can't be patient without your guidance on a day-to-day basis. All of what we've shared in this episode, it didn't happen overnight. This has been happening for years, for weeks, and even in recent times, which is why we brought it to this episode today. And this is proof of that because of my prayer, because of his prayers, because of our family's prayers. It's all been an accumulated thing and in a team effort, a family effort. Right. And here we are now to share it with you guys to make it hopefully a little bit easier for you guys. And then you guys can share this with your loved ones, with your coworkers, especially with people who you think don't want to listen to you and you feel alone. I feel for you guys. That's why I was getting emotional, because I know what that guy was been through, but I've never been to the extent of, I got to end my life.
Yeah, of course.
This guy did. And that sucks. And I mean, I'm sure at some point we're going to talk about suicide. This was a huge example of it. And then Ephesians 4:2 is the last one. Always be humble and gentle. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's good.
Keep that in mind, guys. I don't know if you have anything to add. I feel like I'm out of breath now because
I got a few things to add real quick. I mean, it will probably extend a little bit more than usual, but
that's okay. Hopefully this is jet fuel for you guys, as he says.
Yeah,
jet fuel.
Yeah, this is a SpaceX fuel today because it's just over the top. I mean, we've literally been to the most bottom of a human life today, from the suicide portion to the patient's part to our own daily basis, the most lowest thing. So I think that it's got value. This has got a lot of weight today. I was eager to record this podcast, and I'm glad that we're here today. This is a goal for me, and it's definitely a trophy for Nabil as well, because it's what we want to do. We want to be able to, through our experiences, help anyone we can.
For sure.
Going back real quick to the patience of him teaching you, I want to explain something to you guys. Not everybody has to go through dark and tough circumstances to learn.
Yeah.
I've shown young bucks. What I mean by young bucks is younger age people from nowadays that don't take advice just because it's advice. Take advice for what it really is, which is it's a life experience that someone went through, not that they just want to say it just to say it. If you know this is somebody that went through it, why do you got to go through that trial and tribulation? Because you just want to, or that makes no sense. If you really want to gain wisdom, if you really want to gain knowledge and understanding about things in life, sometimes if somebody already gave you a bump step, bro, take the next step to something better. You know what I'm saying? Don't go through the same thing this person went through. So you're telling me you're going through the rocks this person already kicked to the side to then kick them again when they're already on the side?
That's good. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Build off other people's bad circumstances and issues.
Yeah.
And don't be the person, don't be a poor-minded person to let me go through. Sometimes you got to go through an experience to learn. Yes.
For sure.
Not taking that away. What I'm saying is that if somebody's already giving you the key to the door, grab the key, open the door, keep walking.
Stop come on now.
Trying to knock down the door and kick it down with your own might.
When it's not, nothing's happening.
When it's not even just that. Like, you have the key to the door. You got the key to the door.
That's good. Yeah.
Learn from this person's experience.
For sure.
Even if you're not a believer of the word, man, today you could gain something from this podcast, and I can guarantee you can. I can guarantee you can. And hopefully, the goal is hopefully you start seeking about religion, whichever it may be. Hopefully you start believing in something, because we didn't just magically appear here.
And at the end of the day, too, we need something to be able to
hang on to.
Well, I mean, in the tough times, we just can't do it alone. A lot of people like to take credit that they do, and you just can't. We are made to rely on each other. Right. It's easier to rely on each other than to rely on yourself, because relying on yourself will only get you, so far that you're just kind of tired of it. You're like, bro, I'm tired of grinding alone. I can't even celebrate anybody for my victories because I've just closed everyone off because of all the past hurts and stuff.
And I want to leave it on this note.
Leave it.
So we can close up real quick. It's a saying. It says, self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. The man he spoke about today, man, hopefully I can meet you one day, because you definitely have the calmness, which is power. You already went through all the self-control. You already went through the mind, the right thought process. Now this man's out there, whether if it's at a regular job like this or in the biggest company in the world, whatever. He's out there teaching a person with the calmness and the patience for another person to flourish the way he is.
Yeah. And
I know Nabil gained something from this guy. I gained a whole lot from this guy. I almost cried when Nabil told me about this story. I'm like, there's no way we cannot. We have to stop, because the way not just our country, but the world is going through right now, all the things that are happening in this world.
Yeah.
People need to hear these kind of things.
Yeah.
And not just hear them, but learn from them and try to continue to spread these things. The world is always talking about the negative things that are happening. Every freaking the news, CNN, CNBC, whatever. All these people are just promoting all the negative things that are happening. So people are already thinking negative things in their mind every time, every morning they wake up to that. Stop watching those news, those negative things that are leading you to think negative. Start listening to a podcast like this that's going to feed you positive, so you could think positive and pass it on to a person as a positive. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the point of this podcast, and I hopefully think I pray and I hope that you guys can understand, first of all, that suicide is not the way. You have a life to live
with a purpose.
If you have, everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, and if you have a purpose, let it be fulfilled to the day your physical health says, all right, today you're dying. Today, this is it. Don't go by, oh, this is what I'm thinking. This is my negative thoughts. I know it's not easy.
No, it's not.
But and me and millions of other people have been through hell and back.
Yep.
Nabil has been through hell and back in his own way.
Yep.
But we've gotten through it, and we're here today recording this podcast, guys.
To help you guys succeed.
Thank you for tuning in, Nabil. I want to thank you today because honestly, you don't know, I really wanted to record this podcast because of the content, of the amazing content that he shared today. Everything, and another thing too, we might read a few things here and there, but most of this podcast is improvised from the heart.
Yeah. We don't script this.
This is not scripted.
No.
If you see a cut here and there, it's just something happened, a little mistake or something, or we stuttered too much, whatever. Other than that, it's completely straight fluent. And I'm telling you guys, this is the content you guys need. We hope that you guys get back to us. We want to read you guys' comments, what you guys think on a daily basis.
Yes.
If you don't want to write it on the comment box on YouTube or Instagram,
DM us.
Private message us or email us. It's on our social platforms, our email as well.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it confidential, we'll keep it confidential.
Absolutely.
If you want to share it by all means.
And if you you know what would be cool in one of these episodes, like if we get enough traction and people like message us and things like that, like we could read it right here and share it with other people.
Sure. Heck yeah.
Oh man. For sure. You know how awesome that would be. Oh, I forgot. In one of the episodes we were mentioning. Yes. Oh, you remember?
Yeah, I was gonna end it on that note too. Okay. High and low for me today. My high was I woke up today, and I woke up to my son and my lady next to me. Best thing in the world.
That's a win.
And my low today, man. Jeez, what was my low? I didn't have enough coffee today, so I'm
okay.
Hey, but there's gonna be some rough days where I'm gonna be like, yo, my high was. It looks just like my low for today, so don't worry. Those things are gonna come too. I ain't gonna exempt that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Your high and low, Bill?
Low was just in the moment, I suppose.
Sure.
It was just having to go to the old station to help out. I was just like, man, I really don't want to go, and then it sucks that they're forcing me to do it. But it turned into a learning experience. So that is one of the highs. I could go with that, but I mean, the high is just overall. It was a good day. It was chill. It was smooth. I didn't have to physically work all that hard. So, and this is definitely my number one high.
Yeah.
Today's episode, not to sound cocky, just the way it's all gone and stuff like that. Like just rewinding it in my brain right now, even as we were closing it out. I'm just so grateful to have this platform to be able to express myself. Getting to talk to you, having some good laughs, getting to talk to all of you guys, and just sharing this. And hopefully, even if we impact just one person a week, man, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be so grateful that we're being able to change the world just a little bit. Yeah, make it brighter. So,
thank you guys for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Come on now.
We're on YouTube, obviously. You'll see the video upload. We're uploading every Wednesday, so stay tuned to all that every Wednesday,
Yeah.
12 o'clock at night. It'll be already posted for you guys, so you guys can enjoy it from the minute it's the next that next Wednesday.
That new Wednesday.
Bam. So like, comment, and subscribe. Ringle, dingle,
Click that
dingle.
ringle dingle for all the notifications.
You already know what time it is. We're live and up and going. So thank you guys for the support.
Yeah.
Thank you to Bill again for sharing that story. And
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Thank your coworker too that tell him he's awesome and he's
He
on
is awesome.
Bump Podcast to like, comment, and subscribe as well to our podcast.
Yeah.
If not, we're never sharing any stories of him again. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank
We
you
love
guys.
you guys and take
For
care.
sure.
And it'll be until the next time.
All right.
Take care.
Peace.
Man. Peace.